Like, does anybody have the answer to that question? Does anybody know why on earth, like, seriously speaking, like, SpongeBob and Patrick would be tweaking so bad? Does anybody know this? Or is this just like whatever the writers, whatever the SpongeBob writers were on for real, like, genuinely, like, sending them love and light, and, like, I do, like, deeply respect them, especially for all that they did for the community. But that being said, like, I just wish, like, it's just funny because I'm like, I know where they were coming from now. Like, as I think back on SpongeBob, which I've been wanting to talk about SpongeBob, but I have been wanting to talk about SpongeBob, but that'll be like a different conversation because I have like, that'll just be a different conversation. But I'm just like, what on earth? Like, I'm thinking of that episode where Patrick had, where they had the, oh my gosh, where they had the walkie-talkies because SpongeBob was looking for a deranged criminal, and it was literally himself, and I forgot like what he did or why he was wanted, or like I forget like the exact circumstance surrounding it, but I just remember SpongeBob being on patrol. Oh my gosh, and that song where he's like, I'm on patrol, and Patrick is like making this siren sound, because that's how this even started for me today. Hi guys, like, welcome back. That's how this even started for me today. I was sitting here and I was like doing some like vocal exercises, whatever. I was just warming my voice up, I guess. Heaven forbid. And I was like, wee woo. And then I was like, wee woo. And then I was like, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Wee woo, 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 wee woo. Cause like when Patrick was like, literally the criminal is on my tail, this yellow square from this wanted poster is on me, he's getting really close. I think that's why he started doing the sirens like really fast and like hyperventilating. And I'm just like, man, like whatever they were on in that writer's room, I would pay thousands for just one session. I won't say like 1 hour, I'll say like one session. Like I would pay thousands for just like a little bit of a rewind in time and one session in that writer's room while they were coming up with that material, whatever that was for SpongeBob SquarePants. So yeah. Anyway, hi guys. Hey. Welcome back. We're here getting it together. Like, are we so excited? Like, have you not come to be entertained? Gosh, where are we even starting this week? Can I just actually start by saying I walked into the men's restroom today at work because I wasn't paying attention, and then I hid in the men's restroom today at work because I wasn't paying attention. And well, no, I didn't hide because I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so I was texting my coworker. I walked into the bathroom. I wasn't looking at anything. I didn't really notice. I kind of noticed in my periphery that there were extra things going on, aka urinals, mind you. The extra things in question, urinals. But yeah, kind of noticed that there were extra things going on, kind of ignored those things, went straight into a stall. Because also, honestly, like, I'm an everybody bathroom type of person. And frequently, these days when I go out, it's at everybody bathroom. And there be other stuff in the bathroom, aka urinals. And so I walk right into the bathroom. I walk right into a stall. I'm texting, but I'm hearing men's voices. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, that sounds like a man. But again, I'm everybody bathroom person. So I'm like, you know what? like maybe she just got a deep voice, like I don't know, because honestly I will say, first of all, I live in Texas, second of all, I work at a very like traditional, like old like deep tech company, so like their shit is men and women, like their bathroom, that shit is men and women, and the people that be in there be men and women, they keep that shit separate, okay? So I think I knew deep down, I think what was happening was my brain as it exists in the regular world was like, yeah, like sounds like a deep voice, but that's not my business. Like sounds like that's men talking. Like that sounds like a man saying some shit, but like that's not my business. I'm in the bathroom stall, text, laughing at my phone, doing my I wasn't laughing. I wasn't, because I managed to escape almost without blowing my cover, but we'll get there. So basically, I'm in the stall. I hear men talking. I'm like, sounds like men, but I kind of dismiss it. I finish sending a text, but then I hear more men talking. And then I was like, oh, um, I think I might be in the men's bathroom. Yeah, okay, like I think I might be in the men's bathroom. So I pull out my phone and I'm like, okay, who can I notify me? Who can I notify immediately of this crisis that has befallen me? Because now I'm in a stall, so I am by all intents and purposes trapped. Like I can't go anywhere until the bathroom is empty and until it really seems like there are zero signs of life. Otherwise, I just can't. Like I can't. Like there is no there is no Warren bossing say, like there literally is no chance of leaving the bathroom until everyone is out of the bathroom. So I'm in the stall, I'm waiting it out. These men are yapping. I think I hear a wave of silence. So I was like, okay, let me err on the side of caution. I unclip the stall. I like slowly like crack the stall door open. See a man immediately at the urinals in the mirror. He's looking in the other direction. So he doesn't see me. Snap the door shut. Close that shit. Or lock that shit. Right. So he don't know I'm in there. I hear him leave, but then I hear another guy come out of the stall and go to the sink, and he's washing his hands. He's there for like, first of all, he was yapping. He was yapping on the phone. He was probably there for like 90 full seconds at the sink, I'm gonna say. Didn't know like men yapped on the phone like that also. Like I just feel like, I don't know, like the bathroom at work, that's a place to take a loud phone call, is it not? Like, or is that like what folks are doing? I don't know. Like let me know in the chat, I guess. But yeah, man's at the sink. 90 seconds pass by. I'm waiting on him. I think I hear him leave, but then I hear someone else in the same general direction that he was in. Because, like, the sinks were over there and the other stalls were to my this side, to my left. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to just look and see, like, what sort of information I can gather through like the door cracks and like the holes that be, I guess. And so I like am looking in the cracks, can't see no one, but I hear like some shuffling and like other man voice. And I guess maybe he's on the phone too. Like I don't know. I have never heard so many women speaking in a bathroom unless it was like club night. You know what I mean? Let's start there. Because the only reason I knew I was in the men's bathroom definitively was because all of them were talking. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about in there? Women don't talk like this in the bathroom. Well, no, like women do. I guess women at my job don't though. Like the bathrooms at work be hella quiet. Like the bathrooms at work be hella quiet. So whatever. I think he's gone. I like pull my hair back like this and like look under the stalls and like do the same little thing where I creak the door open and I notice that the other guy who's on the phone, he's in the other stall and he's in the stall. So he's like shut in. I'm thinking he's going to be there for a while because he was already there for kind of a while. Like he was there when other phone guy was there and then other phone guy left. He was still talking. At first I thought they were talking to each other. But Yeah, so which would like that was like my first impression, but then I realized, oh, he's on the phone, and then he left, and then I realized, oh, he's also on the phone. So, yeah, point is, I'm thinking he's going to be there for a while. He seems like he's really doing his business, but I'm like, okay, you know what? I would certainly not want to be accosted in my sanctuary, aka the men's bathroom, where I am taking my time doing my big two, by the voice of a woman. So I was like, I'm gonna sneak out and be like super stealthy about it, since he's in there, he's doing his big one, his big two. So yeah, I like slowly open the door. I like slowly creep out. Nobody inside. I do literally like a full like, no one. I'm like literally like sending up prayers. I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, I'm gonna get out. I'm home free. I go to open the door. Man beats me to it. Swings open the door, and I literally see myself. I see myself, and I see him see me. He immediately checks the sign on the door. It's the right sign. He's not in the wrong place. I hold up both of my hands, literally like literally hold up both of my hands, like, and he's like, and I was like, no, 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 no. Like, I start panicking, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, it was me. I totally made the mistake. Mind you, like, I'm blowing my cover to the king that's doing number 2 a couple stalls down, and I know his peace is now completely disturbed. I know his peace now. His peace is completely disturbed. I am sure whatever he had going on, right back up. I'm sure whatever he had going on, sorry, it went right back up. Had to, cuz I'm in the women's bathroom. I'm doing my business, and I hear a man in there. I'm clenching. Sorry. So anyway, yeah, I'm sorry to that man. Sorry to that man. Did end up going to the women's restroom. Then I like waited until all of the men left the men's restroom, and I did stand by the door of the women's restroom until I heard the restroom door to the men's restroom like open and close a few times. And then when the coast is clear, I just left. I was supposed to be meeting my coworker. So I was texting my coworker when I walked in, and I wasn't paying attention because I was supposed to be meeting my coworker. And I honestly, after that, I like got in my car and I went home. And I sent my coworker a text, and I was like, honestly, going home. So yeah. Yeah. That was that. That was that. That was that. And you know what? I just really love that, like, men's restrooms, I guess, I'm finding out, can be like a place for really building community and congregating. Like, I didn't know that y'all were in there yapping like that. And I'm sorry. And I love that for you. And I love that you have that space, because I do think there needs to be more of that. But there needs to be more of that. Because you know what? None of us are getting out of the male loneliness epidemic unscathed. And that's something to really talk about. We need more men having little cutesy community spaces the way that women have them everywhere. Like, I think men need to really work on like cultivating like cutesy things that they can just like get into. And if that's going to be like the men's restroom at like your deep tech company in Texas, I think that that's worthwhile. Yeah. That's what my workday was like. How was I mean, for those of us who are in jobs, like, how was your workday? And if anything at all interesting happened, or if you overheard an interesting conversation, maybe, I don't know, like, write it down, do something fun with it. Yeah, that being said, I do think that, like, I am, like, getting ready to lose my thumbnail, so that's pretty sad. I was thinking about that and kind of dealing with that, and that was, like, one of the other reasons that I was distracted today, because I actually, and you can't really, like, it's, like, not, I don't know, like, how visible it is. It's not super visible. It's, like, I'm sure a little visible. Like, I'm sure it's not, like, super obvious, but it just doesn't really look like it's like, it genuinely just doesn't look like it's anywhere near getting better. It does look like it's trying to eject from my hand. So that's also not fun. Like, that's actually pretty unfun. And I have been really worried about that lately. I've been trying to do what I can, but I don't think she wants to stick around much longer. And just for context, so actually the night that the Knicks won, you know, I was a little, like, what happens, like, when you had a few, like, sure, okay, you're just moving a little bit more at one with the universe, I call it. You have a little bit more of a flow. And so you're flowing, your movements, they're not as careful, they're not as cautious, they're a little more free. Okay, that's okay. And in my freedom, what do I do besides go to close my car door? Don't know how this happened because I closed it like this. I pushed it closed like this. So I don't know how I caught my own thumb. I can't really even imagine how it happened all one-handedly, one-sidedly like that, but like whatever, like a sign of my freedom, I guess. Like, I don't know. And I closed the door and immediately realized that, like, I have closed my finger in the car door and I have done it fairly hard. And honestly, really, really proud of myself for how I handled it. Because initially, I genuinely thought, oh my goodness, I genuinely thought that I was just gonna die. Like, I thought that I was gonna have to go to the ER and, like, they were gonna have to cut my thumb open. Because when I tell y'all, that shit had so much. First of all, and, like, trigger warning blood, I guess. Like, it was extremely, it was like gushing. And I was like, why on earth? And but also I'm a little, so I'm like, honestly, hands bleed, it's fine. And I am outside of my friend's house, but she just told me she's going to sleep, so I'm like, okay, like, I can't wake her up. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? I have a first aid kit in my trunk. I open my trunk, I get my first aid kit, I have my hydro flask in the car. So I'm like, okay, hand throbbing. Oh my gosh, like, I can remember the pain of it. Literally whole hand throbbing, and, like, honestly, like, forearm throbbing. It hurt so bad. Like, it was like the worst feeling. And this is always, because this has happened to me one other time in my life. It is always like probably like top five, like, worst, weirdest feelings. Like, I just can't, like, I'm just thinking about it and I'm like, but yeah, get my first aid kit, get my hydro flask, rinse my hand off, pour the water over it. I, like, clean my shit up. I have a towel. I take my towel, my paper towels. I have some extra paper towels in the car. I clean my shit up. I have a Ziploc bag in the car, so I'm stuffing everything in the Ziploc bag. I'm wrapping my wound. I'm dressing it with my gauze and with everything. Like, I tied that shit up, wrapped it. I think that's the thing that saved my finger. If I'm being honest, I do think that is the thing that saved my finger. I think it was 100% saved as a result of my ingenuity and my quick thinking. Yeah, and without that, I wouldn't be here today, and neither would this thumb. But that being said, the nail is, like, barely holding on. Like, she's on there, but the whole bottom is so black that I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem positive. Like, that does not seem to be indicative of any sort of positive anything. So, yeah, that's where we're at. And honestly, that's where we're at. Anyway, like, so long intro, double horror stories aside, hey, see what I did there? Double horror stories on the long intro. 2 horror stories, walked into the men's bathroom, and losing my thumbnail. Because. So, I'm sure everyone is now wondering. Oh, wait. Let me not get carried away. Welcome back. This is Getting It Together. I am your host / I literally do also all it. So yeah, Milani Cruz. And today, in the vein of horror, and on the topic of horror, we're gonna talk about obsession and backrooms and horror in general as a genre. And there's more tea. There's a lot on this topic. I think that like this one for me is very special because I am a like I would say that horror, my favorite 2 genres generally speaking are romance and horror. Like those are my 2 favorite genres. And then I think after romance and horror, and that's across all mediums, by the way. I love reading horror. I love horror. I love reading horror. I love watching horror. Sorry, like I do actually consider liking horror to be a sign of high IQ, and that's fine. That's fine because I'll get into why. It's a conversation, you see. It's a conversation. Hey, this whole thing is two-sided, so it's like totally fine. But that being said, like horror and romance are definitely top 2, I think. And then I'm going to say like after horror and romance, probably like comedy. Love comedy. But you know what? Genuinely, like in real life, I do think, and I am one of the people who is in the camp that I think like horror and comedy do go hand in hand, which is always so exciting to explore, but also to talk about. And then I think after comedy, we're going top 2 horror, romance. 3 and 4 is going to be comedy. And honestly, mystery. I love a good mystery. I love things that are mysterious. I love piecing things together. Not to be confused either with true crime, nor is the horror. Nor is the horror to be confused with true crime. I actually consider true crime to be low vibrational. Sorry, it's like really actually no shade to the true crime girls, but it is a little bit of shade because I'm like that shit is low, right? Like that shit is low vibe as fuck. It's not like it's just not tea, and I'm like I don't understand how and why. I just don't understand it. And it's not like I don't understand it. It's like I do understand it, and I'm just like still like oh like because famously true crime does incorporate horrific elements and mysterious elements. And as someone who loves horror and mystery, I'm like I do get it. I get it. I really don't support it and endorse it though. So yeah, no shade to the true crime girls, but also just making sure that I am putting out there that like this is not to be confused with me saying that I like true crime because I don't fuck with that shit. I don't fuck with that shite. That being said, though, horror. Ugh, and on horror, because yes, this is Getting It Together, and honestly, a part of my journey I'm gonna say as an artist, as a creative, like as a writer, as a filmmaker, just like in general, one of the things that I have been figuring out about myself in these past few years, especially since graduating from film school, is what my senior thesis was a feature screenplay and it was horror. Like, come on, like it was a horror screenplay now that I think about it. And I think I've really been trying to like find and this is obviously a lifelong journey for any artist. Hey, that's why we're here, we're getting it together. this is a lifelong journey for like any artist. And I think finding your genre and finding your voice and finding your exactly which combination of elements will make your project special and unique to you is almost all of the fun of being someone who creates things. So that has been fun. And in that process for me, one of the things that I have come to discover is that like I really consume horror with once you switch, and I do think that this, I feel like if a lot of people made this change in how they view the horror genre, first of all, like I do think of all the genres, it is like the most all encompassing. Like I think that there's a thousand different ways to do it. I think there's camp, I think there's psychological, I think there's gender, there's so anything can be like made horrific, which is why I'm like, oh, it's just so good. It's just so good. It's just so good. But that being said, I do think that there's once you turn your brain off from just like, and some people would call this, some people would really hate this, you know, like, because famously, kids who went to film school or went to school for theater or went to school for like any sort of art form or went to school for music, right? Like kids who go to school for things, and such is the nature of that environment, like you become like extremely particular and pretentious and you swear that you just know everything about everything. But in that process, one of the things that happens to us all of us art student kids, is you become a little bit more discerning in your viewing, and your watching isn't just watching anymore. And or at least not in those early days. Like when you were learning about it actively and in classes and doing the studying and doing all of that shit like day in and day out, it's not really super possible to just watch a movie to just watch a movie. Like if you're watching a movie, you are like learning something, or you're observing something that you wouldn't normally like. There is definitely a way that I viewed movies before film school and a way that I have viewed movies since. Now, granted, in the last few years I've definitely come around the mountain on just turning my brain off in that way, and being able to marry the consumption part that just likes to like consume and like eat shit up with the like critical analysis brain that's like, oh, and this is happening and this is happening and this is happening. And once you get to that place, it is a lot of fun. But I think that like for a lot of mainstream audiences, the reason that they don't like horror is because they don't like that part of their brain. They're not like watching it as like a project. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And I think that like it's easier to notice all of the aspects of the project, for example, when you're not busy being terrified. And so that's why famously like people are able to really be like, "Oh my goodness, like gosh, Call Me by Your Name was so beautiful." Even though arguably Call Me by Your Name was horrific in a few ways, but that's not my business. But yeah, I think that like when you're like too busy being in fear and like in suspense and like anticipating things, it's definitely harder to be like, "Oh, wow, that's a really beautiful shot." Or like even if like, cuz not even necessarily that like every like common mainstream member of the audience, whatever, like any old person from any old small town is going to notice it. But that's part of what makes film is that when you're watching it, you're like feeling something, and you're not noticing that you're noticing these things maybe, but maybe you're just noticing that like, oh, you feel a way, and like you feel really good because all of the lighting was done very specifically, and all of like everything is so specific, so you don't know why it's making you feel that way, but it's making you feel that way. And in some sense, it's definitely part of what makes horror so great, is that like it is injected. There are so many different ways to inject a feeling of discomfort into the experience in like just the most. I'll get there, but the point is, I think it is a slept on genre. I don't think it should be like niche or for like cult fan bases. Like, I genuinely think that liking horror is like literally a sign of high IQ. And I don't know. I'm like, that's just the tea. Like, that's just the truth. Because you have to be able to step outside of the experience and to look at it for what it is and be like, wow, this is actually a beautifully crafted project. This is amazing. Because it is amazing. Like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, that being said, obviously, obviously, like everybody else on the internet, I hate to say I loved Obsession. Obviously. Now, no, actually, no. Loved Obsession, obviously. I think that, like, in general, and here's the thing is, because I don't want to like directly compare Obsession and Backrooms, because I did see them like pretty much back to back. Like, I think I saw them like 3 days apart. But I think what Obsession did well that Backrooms did not necessarily do well, in my opinion, was like in Obsession, every single. Well, no, but they just did it in different ways. See, because it's kind of like it's hard. It's like hard because I think that part of. I think one of the main keys to like successfully creating a horrific environment is by leaving things to the imagination, right? Like, and I feel like anyone who has like ever heard anybody talk about storytelling, especially any directors of horror or like any writers of horror, is like aware of the fact that there is this just general knowing and understanding that when you leave things to the imagination, that is when the imagination is kind of able to do all of the heavy lifting in a way that's really, really horrifying, you know? And that's what creates the feeling. And even for example, one of my, and this was before horror. So this is like BH before horror. And I actually think that this project is what put me on to horror. But Haunting of Hill House, famously one of the best limited series, like single seasons of television of all time. It has frequently been put on the list of best seasons of television of all time. It be up there. It be on that list right there with True Detective season 1. Okay, so I don't want to hear any Haunting of Hill House slander, and I'm sure I won't find any. That being said, though, one of my personal favorites, I've rewatched it I think 4 times at this point. I do go back to it typically during spooky season, and typically when I'm trying to convince someone who does not like horror that they should be getting into horror. And what I think makes that show so genius and makes me love it so much is like it there's just enough scene horror that you like know there's like spooky things happening. Like, you know they're in a fucking haunted house. You hear the things, you see the things-ish, but it's like never, like that series does not rely, Haunting of Hill House does not rely on jump scares. It relies on the idea of a jump scare, but there is no jump scare. There's like hardly even really like the thing where like the music jump scares you. You know what I mean? And like it does a really great job of injecting so much discomfort and giving you a sliver of what you were supposed to be terrified of, or like hearing people talk about the terrifying thing. It does all of the world building around the terrors that are like haunting this family, and you do see weird things, and like there are like some moments that are a little bit jump scary, but like I wouldn't say it's overly reliant on jump scares. I think what Haunting of Hill House does that's really magnificent, that I frequently like think about just as like a person who wants to make films and who has made films before. I'm like, the thing that I think about is like how I want to be able to do this is like, even when it's not seen outright, it's like felt. So like, for example, they employ this tactic where they will like, it'll be a scene, well lit, kitchen, daytime, two characters having a conversation in the like, literally like in the kitchen, just on some chill shit, bro. Like two characters having a conversation in the kitchen, just on some chill shit. And normally they shoot the scene in a normal way so that your attention is on the two characters who are in the kitchen, so it feels like any old like Lifetime movie, Hallmark movie type beat. Like it literally feels like super cute, super casual. But if you're someone who is scanning the background, and I mean like scanning hard, because the type of shit that they put in that show, you have to literally like, where's Waldo that shit, and that's what makes it like, that's literally what makes it like literally finger looking good, like Bon Appetit, like literally bone apple teeth, Bon Appetit, like dead ass, like when it comes to Haunting of Hill House, because the way that you have to literally be like, what is that? Like in the back, and it'll just be like some shit that also never interrupts the scene, mind you, never interrupts the scene. And it'll be like a dancing lady, and she'll just like move through the hallway, and she'll like moonwalk out of the like, she won't literally moonwalk, but like she'll like moonwalk out of the shot, like just through the shot while these people are having a conversation, and you'll literally be staring at that shit like, did anybody else just see that lady moonwalk through the background? And everyone in the room will say no. Oh, I'm in a haunted house. Oh. You have placed me in a haunted house. I have successfully been placed inside of a haunted house. That is the feeling of being in a haunted house, because it is like this sight unseen. Some people caught it, some people didn't, and it didn't interrupt anybody, and it didn't do anything, and it was there, but you didn't really see it, you just felt it. You know what I mean? And that's what I think makes good horror. So I think that what I really enjoyed about Obsession is that not only do I love when horror is also like dark comedy. Let's start there. Like, loved Weapons, because that shit was funny as fuck. Like, that shit was funny as fuck. Weapons was hilarious. Like, and I do love movies like that are like horror things, but with like dark comedy elements. And Obsession was certainly hilarious, but also from the moment that you realize that she's essentially in some version of like the sunken place. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, that shit, it just literally, like, realizing that, because now it's like, okay, we don't know what is like happening there. And like famously in Get Out, this concept of the sunken place, and this concept of like, okay, well, we're seeing someone act in a way or say certain things or present something, some sort of facade, and it's just so obvious that there is like something else entirely going on, and we have no idea what the F that is. That's horrifying. And then also just all of the stuff with like gender and like and the relationship between like men and women, and like just genuinely how this whole concept of like how none of us get out of the male loneliness epidemic unscathed. None of us. None of us. None of us. Because you see, the patriarchy affects us all. And how dare Bear have the nerve to eat a handful of pills? Annoying. After all of that, after okay. Okay, sure. Okay, sure, whatever. And spoiler alert. Like, sorry, like if you haven't seen Obsession yet or heard of it. Or and also, my bad. I'm rude. If you don't know what it's about, by the way, it's literally like boy knows girl. Also, I really liked that their age range was like very specific. Like it seemed like they were post like in college, maybe post college or like community college. Like they were adults and they were doing like the solo living thing, but like working part-time jobs, but it was like adult part-time job and not like candy shop part-time job. You know what I mean? So I did like that. I anyway, boy meets girl slash worked with girl. Boy likes girl a lot, obviously like does not have the nerve to talk to her, so he like buys a little wish stick and he's like, okay, like I'm gonna make a wish that like this girl falls in love with me, and then she becomes obsessed. Like, okay, like wait, because my dog is gonna act up, so I'm like, let me stop what I'm doing. Anyway, so yeah, that's Obsession, and it basically like obviously it devolves from there, obviously, because you can't, there's just so many things wrong with all of it. There's so many things wrong with all of it. And obviously it devolves from there. At the end of the day, like you can't, there are a lot of like themes just in terms of like, it is very rooted in like, there's just so much with the male versus female of it all, and like the man versus woman of it all. And it's interesting because I'm like, it's just so not a man being victimized. It's almost like he wants to be a victim, but it's like we're seeing him where like you're literally not the victim, like she's literally the victim. Like it's just like a whole, it's such an interesting dynamic. That being said, like definitely very uncomfortable. Can I say that? Yes, I liked it. Yes, I certainly liked, I thought that the performances were really great. I thought it was funny. I love dark horror comedy. Yes, 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 yes. All of that. Certainly uncomfortable to watch. And I think that's what makes good horror. And it was uncomfortable to watch in a way that felt extremely intentional and purposeful. Now, we're going to switch gears like a little bit, just very quickly to Backrooms because I don't even have too much to say on Backrooms. But I will say this. What Backrooms did well. I famously love found footage. I love found footage movies. Like that's like one of my favorite types of movies. I think that what makes them great is that you don't know because you're in a camera the whole time. So your perspective is only as limited as the perspective behind the camera, or the perspective of like the camera. So you don't know what's behind, around, up and down. Like you don't know. That's what makes find footage good. Your perspective is limited to the camera. So if someone's walking in a room and there's a troll behind them, if you can't see the troll but you can hear the troll, you know that the camera is missing something. That's what creates the terror in your body. That's what creates the dread. Backrooms was fine. Very, 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 very good for 20 years old. Absolutely, positively. Yes. I'm totally not trying to take his flowers. I'm actually going to give him all the flowers. He does deserve all of the flowers. That being said, and I wish I could remember his name at this time, but unfortunately, I cannot remember that man's name at this time. That's okay. But I will say, I think that there was too much explaining what really is not like an explainable thing, especially when you're trying to do something like create dread and create terror, which what I think makes even the setting of Backrooms such a strong setting is that like it's almost unsettling because it's a well lit space and you can see into every corner. That's what makes it unsettling. And but it doesn't follow the conventional rules of like a well lit space that you can see. There's like shit coming through the floors. There's like walls that are like not walls. There's like there's so many rules that can be broken that really anything can come from anywhere. That's really scary. Like that is really terrifying and that is really spooky. And like all of the found footage bits were really spooky. And when you're like seeing things and not like seeing them, like that's really scary. Like spoiler alert, when he has like the rope around his belt and we like we feel him pull and we like see him come up and then we feel what's pulling but we don't see it. That's really like there's so many like moments that I'm like, okay, like this is working, but I think as a whole it just ultimately like fell pretty flat. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But I will say, like, great directorial debut. I am certainly excited to like see what that director does. I I did absolutely positively think that Obsession like nailed it though. So, and I think because most people are talking about them in direct comparison, even though they're not like super directly comparable, that's just why I like have them both on the forefront of my mind right now. So, anyway, yeah. And that being said, because enough ranting about horror, because now y'all know how I feel about that. So there we go. Like, hashtag, I don't even know, like, all about me part one. Like, I don't know. Let's move on to recently viewed. Recently viewed slash what I'm on right now. Because I forgot I changed it to what I'm on right now. So actually, excuse me misspeaking. What I'm on right now, already said recently viewed Obsession, recently viewed Backrooms. Book, I just finished a book called We Used to Live Here, a horror book. A horror book. I guess it is a horror book. It is horrifying, but it was like honestly lame. Can I say that? I'm so sorry. And I honestly applaud any author who can finish a book. I really, really do, because I have not done that yet. I'm working on it. I have not done it yet. So anytime, I really don't like to critique people's completed works because honestly, like, art is subjective, and as long as someone did something and finished something, like, that's a huge achievement. That being said, We Used to Live Here, Wax Sauce. Wax Sauce, the premise, like a millennial lesbian couple moves into a weird, we think it's a haunted house, but we find out, spoiler, that it is like kind of a multi-dimensional demon possessed labyrinth, like time travel parallel universe some situation. And it's like, you know, like it's like it just was not like I don't know. I was irritated at the end. I really was. So there's that. We Used to Live Here. And then I also just finished this other book called Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake, who wrote Atlas 6, which I do love that first book. I have not read the entire Atlas like Paradox series, but the Atlas 6 I did read. I honestly need to reread it. I have it like around here somewhere, but like I really loved it, and I remember really loving it. That being said, like the whole first half of the book, I'm not gonna hold y'all, felt like it was written by AI, but it was just intriguing enough that I was turning the page. I was turning the page because the whole time, can I say something? Like the whole entire time, I was literally like, is it cannibals? Is it vampires? Or is it lesbians? That was what was on my mind the entire time, and that was like the grand question. Or is it all three, or is it none of the above? Like that's what was doing it for me. And those are all topics that I find pretty fairly like intriguing. So Yeah, I was just like wondering the whole time, okay, like, is it cannibals, is it vampires, or is it lesbians? I did get my answer. It was like, like interesting enough. It's basically about a sorority, just about a sorority. And it's about like sorority kind of culture. It didn't feel super amazingly fleshed out or like super, super well developed. But that's my opinion. I just think in a book, there's so much room for development. So whenever books are very shallow, I'm kind of confused because I'm like, well, babe, you had 400 pages. 400 pages is enough space to develop things that need to be developed. Okay. But anyway, yeah, so we used to live here, girl dinner. I'm on hacks right now. I'm on hacks right now. Love hacks, loving that. And if you're looking for like a new, just like some comedy situation to like put on in the background, get into hacks. Like that's been my background show. That's been getting me through my work days, to be honest. So yeah, hacks, get into hacks, would recommend. And honestly, like going outside. I've been going outside a lot lately. I do think I'm about to kind of like completely go into like the opposite because I was saying a little bit like last week about just like getting out, and like I will say I really love that I've been doing this more often because like I think that like I feel a change happening inside of my bones, and it is like the change where it's just like, yeah, you simply can't operate the way that you're used to operating, and I like that. Like famously last week I spoke about Blue Lock and how like the puzzle pieces are literally like constantly like exploding and rebuilding, and that's honestly like kind of how my brain has been working lately, which I really love because it's just like yes, I'm a mouth runner, but like running on the treadmill is literally different than like running on the trail. You feel me? Like these days, my mouth has been running, but it's been like, like running with intention, like running on the trail, like running in new rooms to new people in new ways. Like I'm really like I don't know, like I'm out. Like I'm outside. I'm outside. It's just not giving like at the gym anymore within these four walls. It's literally giving like Toyota let's go places. So, yeah. That being said, going outside, running your mouth to new people in new spaces about new things, not the same old things that you're used to running your mouth about. Like, if you are a mouth runner and a mouth track star like me, do something different with those skills, beloved. Like, literally, like my love, do something different with those skills. And I don't know, who knows what you'll get. Like, something's changing. I can feel it. I can feel it. And who knows what'll come of it. So yeah, going outside. And that being said, Woman Crush Wednesday this week, honestly. And I think this is only because I'm watching Hacks, but the girl from Hacks, not even necessarily in the sense that like I just like look at her and like pass away, but I think that like she has like an insane aura. Hannah, I know her name is Hannah. I don't know her last name because there are a lot of Hannahs that are in the like pop culture like zeitgeist right now that are all like I think kind of comedically leaning Hannahs too. But I think her name is Hannah, like maybe Hannah Einbinder. I'm like confusing. I'm also thinking of like Hannah Burner or like there's like I feel like there's a few different Hannahs. So anyway, I think it's Hannah Einbinder. Einbinder? I could be wrong, but yeah, insane aura. I'm like insane aura. I got like some video of her on Reels the other day, and I think she was giving like a speech about some shit. Something about like being a bisexual, and I was like, yeah, love a funny woman with a fuck ass bob. Love any woman with a fuck ass bob. Period. Point blank. A woman with a bob. You can have everything on earth you want, and you should. That's why I'm getting one, because I think that they get everything. I'm getting a bob because I think women who have bobs should get everything, and they do get everything. That being said, though, in the meantime, all I can do is really like adore them and cheer them on. So before I join your ranks, Woman Crush Wednesday, Hannah from Hacks. Yeah, loving her horribly. That being said, that being said, we're gonna wrap it up. As I said last week, using Substack like a Twitter, so follow me on Substack at NotMilani. My Substack blog, or publication or newsletter or whatever you want to call it, is called Not a Diary. So everything I write on there is pretty unrefined, but honestly because it's hella not a diary, so it's kind of written the way I write in my journal. I'm just gonna say it. Sorry. But yeah, if you're into that, that's there. Follow me on Substack. Follow me on Instagram /thepod on Instagram, because that is one. Actually, that is not one Instagram. My Instagram is separate. The pod Instagram is at Milani Has a Podcast. For chill advice, or am I the asshole, or whatever you want, honestly, please don't send me anything scary. Gettingittogethertogether at gmail.com. And yeah, I think that's everything. And then whatever, comment, subscribe, send it to a friend, share it with a homegirl, I don't know, however you want to spread the wealth and spread the love, it would mean everything. So yeah, that being said, love you, miss you, really want to kiss you, obviously, duh, I say it all the time. And my computer's breathing really heavy, so I'm taking that as my time. That's my producer girl. That's my producer girl giving me the cue. But yeah, I guess we'll be back next week. I don't know.